The psychologist Dr. John Gottman can predict divorce with over 90% accuracy, and he can do it just by listening to a couple argue for 5 minutes. How? Simple. He doesn't listen to what they argue about. He listens to how they argue. Those repeating arguments about the same thing, that feeling of not being heard, the growing distance between you, that's not a sign the love is gone. Those are the small cracks destroying your relationship's foundation, caused by failures in communication in love. In this video, I'm going to expose the 5 deadly communication mistakes that most couples make. And more importantly, I'm going to give you the antidote for each one. This is your first aid kit for your communication in love. Stay until the end because the second mistake is what Dr. Gottman calls the #1 relationship killer. 1. The mistake of criticism versus the complaint antidote. This is the most common mistake when talking with your partner. We confuse complaining about an action with attacking their character. I used to make this mistake all the time. Instead of saying, "I feel worried when you don't text me that you'll be home late," I would say, "You're so thoughtless. You never think about me." I turned a specific problem into an attack on his personality. Here's the specific, actionable tip for you. The antidote. Use the I feel, emotion, when, specific event formula. For example, I feel ignored when you're on your phone during dinner. Why does it work? A complaint is like putting a problem on the table for you to solve together. But criticism is like putting a gun at your partner and saying, "You are the problem." A complaint invites collaboration. Criticism invites defensiveness. The contrast, the deadly mistake, "You're so lazy, you never clean up." An attack on the person. The life-saving alternative, "I feel really tired when I have to clean up by myself. Could you help me?" A focus on the action and your feeling. 2. The mistake of contempt versus the appreciation antidote. This is the #1 enemy of all relationships, the single greatest predictor of divorce. It includes sarcasm, eye-rolling, and comments that put your partner down. During an argument, my ex-partner offered an opinion, and I scoffed and said, "Oh, of course, because your ideas are always so brilliant." In that moment, I saw something break in her eyes. My words weren't just a disagreement, they were an insult. The specific, actionable tip: build an appreciation bank. Every single day, find one small thing you genuinely appreciate about your partner and say it out loud. "Thank you for making coffee this morning. I really admire how patient you were with the kids today." Why does it work? Contempt is like putting a drop of poison in a glass of water every day. At first, it's nothing, but eventually the whole glass becomes toxic. Appreciation is the antidote. It creates a buffer of positive emotion that makes your relationship strong enough to weather the storms. This is the foundation for building a lasting relationship. The contrast, the deadly mistake, rolling your eyes when they speak. The life-saving alternative, listening and saying, "Thank you for sharing that with me." 3. The mistake of defensiveness versus the take responsibility antidote. When we feel attacked, our natural reflex is to get defensive. "It's not my fault. I only did that because you." I used to be a master of defensiveness. When my girlfriend said, "You forgot our anniversary again," I immediately shot back, "Well, you didn't remind me. I've been so busy." I turned a specific problem into an attack on her plans. Here's the specific, actionable tip for you. The antidote. Find just 1% of truth in your partner's complaint and own it. "You're right. I've been absent-minded lately. I should have put it in my calendar. I'm sorry." Why does it work? Defensiveness is like pouring gasoline on a fire. It turns a small conflict into a massive blaze. But when you take even a tiny piece of responsibility, you're saying, "We are on the same team." It instantly helps with resolving conflict and opens the door for a real conversation. The contrast, the deadly mistake, "That's not what I meant." The life-saving alternative, "I can see why you would feel that way when I said that." Stop for a second. If you've recognized at least one of these mistakes in your own relationship, don't panic. That's the first step. Hit the like button as a commitment to yourself that you are ready to change. 4. The mistake of mind reading versus the be curious antidote. This is the subtle trap we set for ourselves. We assume we know exactly what our partner is thinking. I know you're mad at me. I know you hate this idea. I have created countless arguments out of thin air this way. I'd see my partner looking quiet and immediately conclude, "You're still upset about this morning, aren't you?" The truth was, she was just exhausted from work. My assumption turned her exhaustion into our fight. The specific, actionable tip: replace every assumption with a question. Instead of saying, "I know what you're thinking," ask, "What's on your mind?" Be curious as if you are exploring a whole new world. Why does it work? Mind reading slams the door on dialogue. It imposes your story onto their reality. But curiosity opens that door. It shows respect and a genuine desire to understand their inner world. The contrast, the deadly mistake: don't bother saying it, I already know. The life-saving alternative: I could be wrong, but the story I'm telling myself is that right? 5. The mistake of kitchen sinking versus the stay in the present antidote. This is the surest way to turn a small argument into an all-out war. You always do this. It's just like that time 6 months ago when you forgot my mother's birthday 2 years ago. It was completely irrelevant and only inflicted more pain. The specific, actionable tip: set a ground rule. One fight, one problem. When you feel the urge to bring up an old issue, stop and ask yourself, does this help solve the current problem? If the answer is no, let it go. Why does it work? Bringing up the past, or kitchen sinking, is like throwing a grenade into a small fire. It makes the current issue impossible to solve and creates a sense of hopelessness. Focusing on one issue at a time makes the argument productive and solvable. The contrast, the deadly mistake: using the words always and never. The life-saving alternative: focusing only on the specific event that just happened. So, what's your action plan? 5 antidotes. 1. Complain, don't criticize. 2. Build a culture of appreciation. 3. Take responsibility. 4. Be curious, don't assume. 5. Stay in the present. This is your manual for mastering communication in love. My challenge to you is this: for the next 7 days, pick one single goal. Find one opportunity to show specific and unexpected appreciation for your partner. Not just, "I love you," but "I really appreciated how you patiently listened to me today." It will feel unfamiliar, maybe even awkward. Good. That feeling is a sign that you are breaking out of old, broken patterns that weren't working. Love isn't about never fighting. Love is about knowing how to fight right so that every conflict is a chance to understand each other better. You now have the tools to master communication in your relationship. Comment below, which communication mistake do you find the hardest to overcome in your relationship? And if you want to keep building stronger connections, hit subscribe. Next week's video: reconnecting after conflict. 3 conversations you must have after a big fight. Remember, break limits every day.